Here we are, Daryl. Last week
We
of the
made it.
year. We made it. We did it. Crazy. It's only been full time. We've been doing this thing since May, going nuts. But we are here in December, and we had a quick think about it yesterday, just how far we've come in such a short period of time, going from zero to this week already meeting with some amazing creators, top of the game. So it's come far. It's very exciting. So this week, actually, we managed to punch out a lot of stuff. Is it basically that long piece of work that we've been doing was the refactor of the projects from being a single channel project, so basically one piece of media in one project, in one platform, to now a project is more of like a traditional project management project where it houses multiple, let's call it, posts or places you want to go to, so multi-channel.
Yeah, kind of a different vertical is open, which has sort of been informed by just the way people work. So YouTube is obviously the holy grail of content, but it's not how most people find their audience, especially not with how competitive it is these days. So we've noticed a trend of most people also want to push their content to the other channels, which we sort of knew at the start, and this is just paving the way for that.
Yeah. So it's a big refactor. It ended up, we basically undid all the work that we started on the foundation and rebuilt it, but it's feeling really solid now. It's very flexible. So we'll see where that goes. And the way we've implemented it, I feel like it works really well. It actually removes one barrier of getting started, which is like assigning a channel to begin with. So now you don't actually need a channel to start a project, which is really cool. So we're very excited about that feature, and part of that, we also rebuilt some of the screens. Like we pulled chat out of the dashboard into its own screen now, so it's more of like a one space where you can go and talk about the project. So that's really cool. And yeah, so that we did that, and then we also managed to also work on onboarding improvements. So because we don't need, we found a lot of users were getting stuck on when you onboard and then you have to add your first YouTube channel. So people instantly were like, well, one, if they don't trust the product, they're like, well, I don't want to connect my YouTube account and give you all my data. That was the first blocker. And then the other one was like, oh, well, this is only a YouTube product, which it is. Like, to be fair, that's the focus. It's on long form is our focus and will always be. But it stopped people even just taking a look. Because if you are doing short form content, you probably will end up doing long form content at some stage as well. So it's nice to get people, because you're still doing the same thing. You're still outlining, you're still planning, you're still doing your packaging in a way. You may not work on the thumbnail so much, but you might be doing cover images for Instagram or something. So there's a lot of pieces here, even the media reviewing, you'd be doing that with your editor. So there's a lot of pieces that overlap. So we just got to figure out next is how do we build a screen that shows, can be stripped back. So you could say, like, I don't want to see, for instance, packaging for some reason, or I don't want to do full scripting for a reel. Like you may not do that. So we just got to move into the next phase. Like, how do we kind of customize your workflow even further? But it's very exciting. Like, I feel like the product is getting very polished and very excited for 25.
Nice.
All right.
And then Post Hog, obviously.
Post Hog, obviously. You can talk a bit about why we put Post Hog in there, Daryl.
Yes. So Post Hog is analytics. It tracks what the users are doing. It's going to help us understand the user journey. So one of the things that Ken just mentioned is we had people falling off at the attach YouTube channel stage. We only found out about that because people told us. There could be people who got to that point and didn't tell us anything, but we heard from someone that they were uncomfortable reaching that point to proceed. And this is the sort of thing that will help us identify those areas. And it's also going to show us in the product what people are using the most, help us make really data-driven decisions instead of, hey, Ken, can we do this? I don't know. People might be using it. We can actually just look at numbers, which is nice. And it seems like a really cool product as well. I like a lot of the ways they communicate their product on the site. Obviously, they're a developer-focused tool, but all of the philosophy stuff and having their core values are upfront. They're very upfront with what they're doing and why they're doing it, which is really cool. So happy to align with something like that. Pricing seems good too, which is obviously a consideration.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's nice for us to be able to do like fully data-driven decisions. Like we've never really done that in the past. There was a lot of gut feel, a lot of customer kind of feedback. But this way, like we're really using those events and then watching funnels. Like seeing like how the attachment rate of a user, like are they coming back? What are they using most? So those kind of things, it helps you just decide like we should focus more on this piece because it's very used. This piece isn't so used. Even what we added in was the events through the onboarding flow to see where people fall off, so we can build like funnels and see how that works. Very interesting. So that's one of the main reasons we've added it, and also just to help us build a better product. Obviously, that's what we want to do. So anything that's not useful gets taken out, and anything that's useful we can iterate and refine. So
yeah, and I think just from a business sense, we've always typically steered away from analytics, not in the sense that we won't use them to back the decisions, but you still use your gut. So like I would just mention, don't fall into the trap of like, oh, analytics, the numbers, they prove everything. There is still a gut element, a talking to users element that can override the data. The data just helps you once you've sort of thought, I think we're going to go this way. The data can help you make the decision whether or not to go that way. Don't be led too much by it.
I think deciding what to build, as well. But for us, I think a lot of stuff just it'll give us visibility into drop off. I think for that, like, especially when you're trying to get people onto your platform, like if they're dropping off before they even get to experience it, that's a major problem. So I think by actually analyzing that flow, you're going to see a lot, especially if you start moving into now harder marketing, and you want to make sure like your advertising dollar, let's be fair, let's be honest, we're all going to spend money on advertising. You want to make sure that those dollars, you're getting the people to your front door and you're actually getting them through. You don't want them to fall off before there. So, seeing how people land on your landing page and then continue to click sign up and move down the funnel is super important. So very excited to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's actually been pretty good considering how undereducated the market is about the product. Like there's not that much out there about it other than a landing page and then us talking about building it, but we're not really talking about like what the product does in marketing. I think our conversion rate has been pretty good considering that, and it can only get better once we start actually marketing the product.
Yeah, awesome. All right, guys. Well, that is 2024. Thanks for coming along with the ride for us, and we'll see you guys next year.